Hello and welcome to the second in the series of focusing on ourselves. Before I get into today's topic, I just want to say a big thank you to all those who listen to or watch my videos and share the information in it. I'm particularly grateful to those who have actually gone onto my website and downloaded the free offer I have on there, which is turning your life around, the first 3 steps. My aim as a life coach is really to inspire positive life changes in troubled and at-risk teens. And so when I am approached by an elderly person outside this target group, and I'm told this person tells me that I've been watching your videos and I like it, and the information you share has had an impact on my life, I feel very humbled and blessed, to be used more as a positive change, vessel, not for just the teens that I'm targeting, but also for everyone else outside that target group. And so I'm grateful for all of you, who watch it. And if you have any comments, if I say anything that you don't agree with, you have additions or whatever you want to add to it, just go ahead and put it in the comments. And if you want to PM me or DM me, that is also fine. I just want to say a big thank you to all of you. Now, having said that, last week we spoke about acknowledging ourselves. And we did an exercise, and that exercise involved writing down or recording our accomplishments, our strengths, our skills, the skills that we have learned over the years, and our talents and all of that. And then we had to add our flaws, our shortfalls, and our weaknesses. What I want to say, and I don't think I mentioned it last week, is that this is a record that comes in handy, especially for those who would want to go to college or university. When you have a record of your accomplishments, the medals you have received, your championships and all of those, I think they come in handy when you're applying for these colleges, because you would need some of those things to put into your applications. And so if you are a teen who has not done this exercise before, I'll encourage you to do it. If you know of any teen who hasn't done it before also, I will encourage you to tell that teen to have it. It serves as a record for yourself. Even when you are looking for a job, or you're going for a job interview, you can just literally look over it and remind yourself of all the things that you have done, your strengths and your weaknesses or whatever that is, and then it will help you in your interview. So it's very important for us to do this exercise and keep adding and amending it, because life changes. It is not static. So you might be adding on to your accomplishments, you might be adding on to your strengths, and you possibly even identify few weaknesses that you have not identified earlier, and you can put them down so that you can begin to work on them. Enough said about last week. This week we are talking about self-acceptance, and it's really a continuation of the acknowledgement that we did last week. So what we are going to do today is to take ownership of all the things that we put down. And it's so easy to take ownership of all the accomplishments, all the things that you have forgotten, you have remembered to write them down, you have, recorded all of them. And it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel good. But when it comes to the negatives or the weaknesses, even though we acknowledge them, sometimes we don't want to take ownership of them. And that is where the difficulty is. Because when you refuse to take ownership of those negative things or your shortfalls or your flaws, then it becomes very difficult for you to actually do something, about it. The truth though is that, like I said, we cannot change if we are not willing to accept the issue at hand. Okay, so for example, this might not be a real weakness, but there was I read a story of a boy who was really ticklish, okay, to the point where even when the wind blew his hair, yes, his hair, he would start giggling and start laughing for other people to laugh. As he grew up, people decided not to invite him to events, especially when they thought like business events or like breakfast meetings and stuff like that, because they didn't want people to be laughing throughout. They termed those meetings as serious business, and so they didn't want anybody coming there to laugh and making other people laugh, and so they shunned his company, if I should say so. He became sad, he became unhappy, he was lonely, and I think he even decided to kill himself, according to the story. Anyway, he met this clown, and the clown was an elderly person, and he asked the clown why he keeps doing what he's doing. And so the clown took him to this deprived neighborhood. And as soon as the people saw the clown, they were so happy, jumping around. They all brought in their stools, their mats, sat down and to listen to the clown and to watch him. And it made them laugh. And so this clown turned around and, told the boy, this is why I do what I do. And so it is not so much letting other people accept you, but accepting yourself and taking advantage of what you have been given, the special gifts that you have been given, and using it to the benefit, to your own benefit and to other people's benefit. You don't wait for somebody to accept you before you accept yourself. If you accept yourself, that acceptance will draw other people to you. That is one thing. And then we have those, and then we have our negative, pasts. But what we have to remember is that those are experiences that we can learn from. But until we take ownership of them, we cannot learn anything from them. Okay? And that is why sometimes it is difficult for people who get addicted to certain things or certain illegal drugs to actually move away from it, because sometimes you speak to them and they tell you, they tell you casually that they do it. They acknowledge that they do it, okay? But they are not taking full responsibility or owning the consequences that come with all those negative, experiences, using the drugs and all the addiction and stuff like that. They are not. And sometimes even when they take ownership of it, moving forward is difficult. But the truth is, taking ownership of who you are and all your flaws and all your shortfalls is the beginning of turning things around. What do you change if you don't know? You don't know anything, How are you even going to do it? What are you going to change? Because you have not accepted anything, or you have not taken ownership of it. Okay, so let's see, what else haven't I said? One thing you need to do, though, is to accept yourself without judgment. And as a life coach, when I am working with you, that is what I do. I am not here to judge. It is not in my place to judge. We all have our different paths. We all have our negative pasts, and we all have the reason we did certain things that we have done, or the reason we do the things that we do. So it is not for me to judge, but you also have to accept yourself without judging yourself. Otherwise, you will stay where you are. You cannot move past that. Yes, you have made that error. Yes, you have gone through that experience, but there's always something to learn from that experience. And that is what this ownership, acceptance is all about. Okay, so we have done something. Yes, we did it. So we have acknowledged it. We have accepted. Yes, we made this mistake. How do we move forward? That is what self-acceptance is telling us to do. I don't know if I mentioned this, the story of my nose. Did I mention that? I told you the story of the boy. Okay, so growing up, I knew that I was told by my friends that my nose was big. Okay, and I didn't like it, but I couldn't really tell them, and I didn't know what to do with my nose to, because at that point I wasn't even thinking of surgery or anything. In any case, if I had even thought of plastic surgery, who was going to do that for me? So I would just cry and let it go. But then as I grew up and as I accepted who I was, I decided to change things for myself. This is me. If you love me, if you like me, you like everything about me. You have to like my accomplishments and my flaws. Everything comes together. One does not go without the other, right? So, and when God created us, He did not give us any specifications as to how human beings look like. And so why would I want to wait for someone to accept me the way I am before I accept myself? I need to be happy within myself and then do all that I want to do. And if you want to go with me, that's fine. If you don't want to go with me, that's it. And so this is how I, turned my dislike for my beautiful nose to the love of my nose. Does that make sense? Okay, so today we have an exercise that I want us to do. We are going to write love letters to ourselves. Okay, we are going to write letters that say that we love all our accomplishments, we love everything, and that our flaws are part of who we are today. And by acknowledging and accepting the fact that this is how we are hoping to learn from these experiences and move on, hoping to make positive changes in our lives. Okay, so if I were to write a love letter about my face, for example, I'll probably describe myself as let me see, what words would I use? I'll probably say I have a sizable nose that complements my beautiful eyes and my medium-sized lips. Maybe that's what I will say. But to me, I'm describing myself, and this is me. This is how I choose to describe myself. How do you choose to describe yourself? Write a love letter to yourself. Remember that all your negative things, your negative past, your negative experiences, your weaknesses, your flaws, your shortfalls, they are a reason you are who you are today. You are not who you are in spite of. You are who you are because of all of those things, because of all your positives, because of all your negatives. So now that you have all of them in front of you, what are you going to do? If they look so positive to you, that's fine. You can leave it. Don't do anything. But I know that there's always room for improvement. And like I have said earlier, I'm saying it again. If you do not accept yourself, if you do not take ownership of who you are today, you cannot make changes. You cannot move forward. You will stay still. And you will be just as you are. You will not be able to improve on your life. You would have to acknowledge who you are, who you have become in this present time. And when you find out, you have to take ownership of yourself, ownership of all that you have done, your activities, your experiences. You are who you are today because of all of those things. And if your life at present is not how you want it to be, then let's make this basis, this self-acceptance, the basis for self-love. If I should put it that way. So that we can begin to make changes to the things that we do not like. The things that are affecting us negatively. The things that we want to turn around in our lives as we all continue to fuel our greatness. As usual, this is JFB Coaching. My website is right above the video, I suppose. It is jfbcoaching.com. You can go there and download my free offer, which is turning your life around, the first 3 steps. And if you have time to go through my website, there is a page titled The Trove. The Trove have a lot of these videos there that you can learn a lot from and you can share with other people. I hope to see you again next week with the 3rd in the series of focusing on ourselves. But until then, I wish you well. I wish you a blessed week and continue to fuel your greatness. Bye-bye.